You don't want someone who comes along after the fact and just knew how to file a certain paper or fill out a certain document, slice into your pie simply because they knew how to fill out a form. So, man, get familiar. I'm gonna
fill out your forms now.
That's right. That's so right, man. Get familiar, man. I'm telling you, take that little extra time, and man, we got the internet. We got it better now than any artist time period before us. So, for any Renaissance period before us, they didn't know how to cover this and cover that, but now we can go and we can Google, we can do anything we want to do to find out how to do it. You can pay somebody to do it for you, but take care of it, man, because when you come, you creating, get compensated for your work.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about Players Preferred. Where does the name come from? What does it mean to you?
Okay, I get that a lot. And let me say this as forewarning, because women always seem to have a misconception of what Players Preferred actually stands for. Okay. Ladies, though I love you ladies, Players Preferred is not about a guy collecting a lot of women and being that sort of player. It's not about that. It is Players Preferred in actuality. It is a celebration. My brand is a celebration of when we look at life as a game. I think of the players as the movers and the shakers. People who have inspired me throughout my life. Like, I look at people like Donald Trump. I look at people like Puff. I look at people like Jay. Like, people who have taken themselves from extreme circumstances and move and transition themselves into a positive space. They're living out a dream because they fought for that dream. And that's what my brand is about, is celebrating the player, the person who is in transition, not the spectator. You know what I mean? I want those that are in the transition. I don't care how many times you fall down. I don't care, if you got back up, dust yourself off, and keep trying to run that ball till you get it across the line. That is the play I'm celebrating. Those in transition, those in the hustle, those in the grind. That's the play I'm talking about. And of course, the preferred part should be self-explanatory. So that is the play I'm talking about.
So so because it's not a spectator.
It's not a spectator sport. No, not at all. Not, the victor doesn't go. The trophy doesn't go to the person sitting in the stand. You know what I mean? So
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So that's the people. I've always read those stories. I'm big on reading biographies. I'm always reading a biography. Right now, I'm reading my man Damon Jean's biography, Display of Power. Okay. And I'm big on that. Like, there's certain mentors and certain people I look at their life, man, and it inspires me. It inspires me that, all that is in me. It's in you. It's in all of us. All we need to do is activate that. That, you know what, he did it. And these people will tell you it's a common thread to everything these people say. That every autobiography I've ever read, it's a common thread that it says, I knew I could do it. I never took no for an answer. Right. And you're relentless about what you want. Get up, go do it. You're going to hear no. So what? Keep going. Right. One day you will hear a yes, and that yes will be something that will change your life. And that's my prime directive. Prime directive.
And if you prepare yourself when you hear that yes, you're ready to go. Exactly that.
Exactly that. You constantly trying to improve. And I'm big, man. When I like to talk to the younger cats. I don't know, having Players Preferred is, I'm constantly in contact with younger cats that either modeling for us or doing something, in relation to us, loving the clothes or whatever it is. And I always try to tell these cats, man, like, be serious about honing your craft, getting your craft right, because in today's world, I know I just said about getting your money right and having your money, but before that money comes, you got to get the craft itself, having that craft that says, I'm proud of the work I put out. I'm proud of, man, if you speak to my wife, she'll tell you, I spend hours when I'm doing designs. I spend hours after design is done just staring at the screen, looking for imperfections and how I could do that better. That's no lie. My wife would tell you that, like, why are you just sitting there staring like a zombie, and what I'm looking for is things that I don't want people on the streets to come up once this t-shirt hits the screen. I don't want somebody to come up like, why is this out of, you know what I mean? So that's just the person I am. But I always tell the young cats, man, try to get your craft at a place where you you can never be the best because there's always going to be someone, but get at a place you're proud of what you put out there, and you don't have to second guess it later. Get it to a place where when you our generation today, the younger generation, what they see is the glitter. What they see is, I got to get the money.
Yes.
And it's nothing wrong with that. Get your money, young man. Hey, get it.
Yeah.
But before it comes to that, you got to get it to a place where somebody will pay you for doing whatever it is.
Right.
And I firmly believe if you are one of the best at what you do, people will pay you. They're glad to pay you to do whatever it is if it is of quality. You know what I mean? That's why I try to push so hard to make my brand what it is, because I believe they'll pay you once it is of a certain quality, a certain standard.
Yes.
So always strive for that, man.
Very good. And that's been your focus. And so since 2012, what is it that you look at in your fashion when you look at your fashions that you're creating since 2012? What is your message? What do you want people to get out of it? And I say this because I saw that last one, that hip hop.
Oh man,
so
yeah.
I know there's a message there, and not just on that one, but on anything else on the series.
I try to. Well, let me answer that in two parts. One, I have to start by saying the shirt. In case you guys don't know the shirt that he's talking about, I did a shirt recently that stated on the front, "Whack-ass rappers are killing hip-hop for crumbs," which I firmly believe. I'm a big hip-hop fan. I've, been a fan of hip-hop since, I don't know, forever. About as I don't know, maybe single digits, 5, 6 years old. I don't remember. It's so long ago. But I follow hip-hop. I'm a student of hip-hop, and most of my artwork is inspired by hip-hop. Well, all of it, actually, is inspired by either hip-hop or high fashion, but I firmly believe, man, like hip-hop is dying because of the infiltration of what I just said, and to kind of latch on to what I just made a point about being the best at your craft and people will pay you for. Well, I think in hip-hop things have kind of changed. I mean, I believe that, back in the days, and I don't want to sound like an old head, right? But I am I don't want to sound like an old head, but I am a person that, like I said, I'm a student of hip-hop. But in the days of like a Rakim, and Rakim brought forth like someone like Rakim influenced someone like Nas. Me and my wife just had this discussion yesterday about the difference in hip-hop then and now. And he brought forth someone like Nas, influenced by Rakim, and of course Rakim would have inspired a J. Cole and a Kendrick Lamar, and that's all great. But along the lines there, the generation of hip hop, it's diluted from, hip hop used to be much more informative than what it is, and now because hip hop has become so commercialized, it's become watered down to what the business model of it has said. This is what works. This is what we're looking for, and we're gonna keep putting this business model out, or not this business model, this particular artist out. And the budgets have gotten bigger, the contracts have gotten huge, but the artistry has gotten worse. We're getting, and I'm not gonna lie, this is my own opinion. We're getting probably 20% of what Rakim was given 100% of. Right. This is the. It
used to be pure, huh?
Yeah, it used to be puro. The best, man, puro. But now we're getting.
It's watered down.
Yeah, diluted. And I'm as a student in the game. As a student in the game, I feel for that. I long for those days back when I would take home an album and stare at that album. Man, I remember like going and grabbing, I don't know, I gave Rakim enough praise, but someone else, let's say KRS-One, okay? By any means necessary. I remember my homie like bringing that album to school and hitting me off with it, like, yo, check this out. And me putting that album on and reading the credits and listening to what this dude is saying, like listening straight through and listening to the knowledge this person is dropping on you. I don't get that no more. I don't get that feeling. I can sit here and I can name the artist, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna point nobody out and say, yeah, this one is whack and that. I'm not. That's whack. I wouldn't do that. But there's certain artists that they're in it for the check, and you know who I'm talking about. You know the people who, they having these big contracts, and you know that there's nothing being given in that music that you can't find in another rapper. You can't even tell hardly some of these rappers apart because their image is so similar. Yeah. They mesh so alike. Like back in the days, I didn't have any problem telling Rakim from LL or LL from Run, or you know what I mean. And again, the music was more pure.
Yeah, they had their own identity. They had their own message. They had their own style.
Exactly that.
And
exactly that.
Yeah, and you can get into it.
Exactly that. It was like wrestling, like every wrestler has its own identity, they have their own, so it's easy to tell them apart and what they stand for. So, back to the subject matter, why I even brought up the point was that particular shirt was inspired by the temperature of hip-hop today. On the back of that particular shirt, it says, like, hip-hop respect the culture. And I really, and it names off different countries under it because we're a global culture now. And I want that to, when they signing these big checks, it goes back. If I could sit and talk to these dudes, like, again, about your craft, man, I mean, homie, go get that check. Go get it. They giving it, go get it. But remember, hip-hop is not some girl that you take on a date and soon you get in a car, you fill up, and as the date is over, stop treating hip-hop that way.
What's the future with Players Preferred? What do you see? What is your goal?
In the near future? Well, right now, what we're doing right now is kind of organizing ourselves and to start approaching the stores and going into trying to get the brand into some stores and approaching trade shows this coming fall to kind of get the brand out there and expanding the brand. We are looking to be, my goal for Players Preferred, I believe in setting my goals, and I set them high, and my goal for Players Preferred is I want Players Preferred to be recognized as Atlanta's premier brand. I want it to be the brand that what I always tell people, I want Players Preferred to be to Atlanta what Tyler Perry was to music. What Tyler Perry was to movies in Atlanta. I think Atlanta is a big part of Players Preferred because it did, I didn't give birth to Players Preferred until I moved here. So I always try to make, I try to put things on all our clothing that says imported from Atlanta or made in Atlanta. I always try to represent the city because the city has given us a lot of love, and I want to give that love back. But the objective for Players Preferred is we're a lifestyle brand. I want to be the first internationally recognized brand fashion line coming out of Atlanta that will be recognized in Europe and respected in Milan and in Asia and wherever. We have a lot of big things in the work for the future. I do believe we will endure. I think that anytime you put your passion, your soul into something and you're giving good work, it will endure. And I'm just one of them people, man. I don't care how many doors you shut in my face and tell me no, you're going to see me again. Certain people out there I'm talking to, they know who I'm talking to. You will see me again. Yeah. And I'll be on the other side of the table. So it's best to be on the side of the table that I'm sitting on rather sitting on the other side of the table with me because I'm just that type of dude, man. I'm relentless. You're going to see me. I will not stop. I will not be detoured. So that's what it is, man. Please check us out. Please check us out online at www.playerspfrd.com. Check out the line and hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Same tag, Players PFRD.
And support.
And support, most definitely support. That's a good. You know what? Before we go, let me make a point about support because I just had this conversation at the barbershop yesterday about a guy telling me that he wants to support me, right? But every time they see me, they asking for free clothes. So I said to him, I said, yo, if how are you supporting me if every time I see you asking me for free clothes, I'm supporting you?
That's right.
So let's be careful on that word support. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead and support me, man. And definitely, y'all will see things coming back from Players Preferred because one thing I do want to be is someone that is very active in our city. I do want to, get behind programs that kind of